So today this is an interesting one for me. A lot of you guys know that I'll often use a brass brush and use that while a piece of steel is warm to impart some brass onto that steel. Here are some brass brushes, 2 old ones and a new one. Here's a piece with a copper skin, or maybe you might call it plating, and I accomplished this by accident, and I feel that this is worthwhile to show you guys today. I wanted to do this in the past, but I never found a copper brush, at least not here in Taiwan. So I'll show you how I went about this. By the way, you can see how pure of a copper color this is next to a piece of actual copper. Heat your steel to a low temperature. Start to brush your steel with a pure brass brush. Make sure it's not a steel one that just has a brass color on the bristles. As the steel cools but is still warm, the brass will start to stick. So at this point you can see how it's very much a brass skin, and you can see it contrasted with the copper skin here. So now I'm going to turn this brass skin into a copper skin. Reheat the piece, but this time you want to heat it until you can't see the brass, but not so high a temperature that the brass burns off. This is very old soybean oil, but I suppose any oil could do. I want to give a very big shout out to Richard Ian Carpenter for his very generous donation. And I also want to thank Jeremy Schuld for becoming my newest Patreon supporter. How could I possibly find time to monkey around like this without your support? Thanks very much. Et voila! Copper skin on steel. So what's happening is probably very simple. Brass is made up of about 2/3 copper and 1/3 zinc. And I think the zinc has a lower melting temperature and in the oil is burning off, and so leaving the copper behind. Or maybe there's some chemical reaction with the oil and the zinc. I'm not exactly sure, but you just don't want to be breathing that, so make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. So I'm working on a blade tong for a customer, and I figured I'd try this again on the handle end of this tong. This time I won't dunk it so deep and see if I can leave a transition from copper to brass to steel. Again, you probably want to be outside when you're doing this, and maybe also have a respirator on. To me, this is very interesting and would be wonderful on any number of decorative items. And I found this copper skin to be pretty wear resistant. If you put this on a piece that wasn't constantly handled, I don't think it would ever wear off. Well, that's all for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. We've got a lot more fooling around to do.